product process. We say, hey, it's a process. It involves what we would describe as a product innovation charter. Right? The textbook talks about that. Right? In which case, we're just looking at hey, some written documentation on our strategy for developing a new product. Right? Sometimes we want to revise an old one, and we consider that new in some way. Maybe we want to reposition the old one in a new market, a new space. Maybe we want to come up with a completely new concept for a new category, right, for a totally new consumer base, for a new marketing channel, or something of the sort. But we need opportunity identification and selections. Right? We need inputs from ongoing planning for our marketing efforts. We got to do audits, see what's working, see what's not working, right? How expensive it is for these new prospects. And then we need inputs from ongoing corporate planning. For any product, it can't just be a marketing team, right, to develop it. It has to be involved also with the finance department, the accounting department, management department, HR, all these different elements of the business, so that financially everyone is kind of on the same page, right, in terms of budget. Exploit underutilized resources, such as technical resources. What do we have that's very technical that we can use to create a new product? Financial, money, product, what kind of raw materials do we have? And then the marketplace. Exploit new resources, right? New discoveries. What have been discovered in a particular state? Scientific discoveries. Maybe just digital things, right? New ways that we do things digitally, communicate with each other. And then looking at diversified markets. Are there markets that we have yet to consider for new products? All right, then we want to respond to external mandates, right? Quality studies, right? You're coming out with a new product, you need to have some sort of focus groups, research and development, see how people feel about it, right? And see how things are testing out. Consumer needs. Whatever idea you're coming up with, is there an actual desire that consumers have for it? Competitive threats. What's already out there from our competitors or regulations? Is it feasible to actually create a product? Are we going to run into a lot of red tape? Maybe something dealing with the government that we may have to try to evade or avoid getting into that issue. And then internal mandates. We have owners, top management plan, unit management plans, and also gaps in between. So we have to say, hey, does it fit our product innovation charter? Does it not fit? I'm looking and analyzing all the different criteria and to see if we move forward with something or not. Because there's probably a lot of different ideas for a corporation constantly pushed out there by many employees of different types. All right, so we say, what is a new product? Is it new to the world, right? Completely new, right? Something that creates a completely new market. Polaroid camera was innovative, new to the world, like really, really new. iPod, right? When the iPod first came out, we're like, well, there's no other product that actually does this. So that's new to the world. iPad is another one. Laser printer, rollerblade, inline skates, right? New to just the company itself, new to the firm, right? Let's say for Procter & Gamble, when they first took on shampoo or coffee, they're like, okay, we got a lot of products. They've already been out there. There's some other ones that have already been out there, but let's capitalize on them, such as shampoo or coffee. If we're not in the shampoo or coffee business, let's get into that. Shampoo or coffee is not new to anyone, but it may be new to the company, right? Additions to existing product lines. We say, hey, Tide had this basic powder detergent. How about we create Tide Pods, right? Part of the product line, just maybe in a different form of some kind. Right? Improvements and revisions to existing products, right? So just Procter & Gamble's improvements to Tide detergent and Ivory soap. Right? Coming with better cleaning agents, better fragrances, maybe encapsulate other dry cleans for that matter. All right, repositioning is products that are retargeted for a new use or application, right? Retargeting new users or new target markets. Arm & Hammer baking soda sold as a refrigerator kind of deodorant, right? So basically saying like, hey, we got a product out there, but you know, you can kind of repurpose this and use it for something else. And how about we market that, right? We market the additional usage you can have for the same old product. We'll kind of push things there. And then cost reductions, new products that provide customers similar performance but at a lower cost. And be more of a new product in terms of design or production. Right? So you can simply say, hey, you know what, we're gonna redo our same old product, we're gonna eliminate some of the quality features, just make it cheaper. We found that the customers don't need the greatest quality, they prefer the greatest price, right? So you're like, that in itself is a new product, it's just really cost reduction focused, right? But still a new product. So think about these 4-year projects that we're discussing and all your ideas. You've figured out, hey, what kind of product do you want to create? Do you want a completely new category, like you're trying to reinvent the wheel, make the next iPad or something? Right? Difficult. That's difficult and extremely expensive. That's why only people like Apple or Samsung can do it. Not everyone can do that. Extremely expensive. Or you're like, hey, you know what? I just want to create an extension of something that already exists. Right? Something that already exists with slight modifications. Right? I just want to create something that maybe have things that are already out there, but maybe cheaper quality. You know, still consider as a new product. So think in terms of your mind. It doesn't always mean completely reinventing the wheel. A new product is not reinventing the wheel all the time. Some could be something else. Sort of addition or reformatting or repositioning. We say easier said than done, right? Top innovators such as Intel and Gillette stay focused and committed to innovation as a long-term strategic goal, which means their research and design firm has a huge budget, constantly testing things with human subjects, possibly even animal subjects, seeing the responses of such, using different types of chemical agents, modifying things to say like, hey, what actually could be a new market to get into, right? With experimentation and testing and using humans for feedback, right? Without such focus, firms can fall back to tweaking existing products and relying on minor product improvements. I would kind of say, Apple's a little bit in between, say, Parker and Apple. Right? In the sense that Apple comes up with the same kind of phone, just modifications and tweaks. Like, think about it. Can you reliably say that Apple has came out with a new phone? Like, what is the concept of a new phone? Like, has Apple just had the same old phone for 17 iterations? Just new software. All right, so you're like, hey, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, conceptually, you would have to think like, well, you know what? A new phone is just new software. Right? A new phone is slightly better lenses on the camera, or a better sensor in the camera to take in more light. Right? More expensive one, and then we have to charge more. New phone. Right? Another person said, well, I don't really consider that a new phone. I consider a new phone as something that looks different, feels different. It's just totally new sort of product category. Right? So you're like, hey, maybe it's better to just do modifications on pre-existing things. Right? Human beings may need just a small margin of differentiation in order to be stimulated to categorize as a new product, and maybe sold at a much expensive price point. Hence why you all upgrade your phones. Right? Who has another iPhone? Why you upgrade?
Well, I was due for an upgrade, so that's why I did it.
Yeah, but you're gonna continue to pay, right? So how do you pay monthly or you buy it outright?
Pay monthly, yeah.
Hmm?
Pay monthly.
Yeah. But why? Besides just like, hey, here's an opportunity, you're now qualified for an upgrade, why not just stay with the same old name? Like, what's so new about that 17, what was it, 16 or something? 17. What's so new about it to you as a customer?
I think to me, it's just that, you know, they made, like all the iOS improvements, like, I think, you know, like, they improve like all the security and like the bugs and all that, so like everything like functions or operates faster.
But think about that, we all have that if we upgraded the software. Right, so like if we upgraded the software on our older phones, it's still gonna look the same, we're gonna have the security improvements with the software. So does it feel completely different to you than the previous phone?
Just because of the new features, like some of the new design cues, yes. Because like they have like the new quick action button on the side and all that. There's some like new features they implemented previously on the 16.
Gotcha. You're like, well, all right, well, there's some actual physical features, there's a quick button on the
Yeah,
side.
the
Do you
quick
use it?
Yeah, I do.
Right? And others may argue that, I don't know if that's enough to convince me to keep paying.
I think the other thing is too is we learned this from my family learned this from a Verizon employee, where the Apple batteries were like if they go at like below maximum capacity like 80%, you have to replace them, and that goes like that's every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's like instead of being down without a phone for however long to get a new battery.
Let's go ahead and buy the phone right now. Alright, the best new product firms do not give in to this temptation, but continue to commit to innovative products, right? Where they say some people tweak, some people want to innovate. And innovation is different than tweaking. Right? Innovation is like revolutionary. Like tweaking is new camera, upgraded software, blah, 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 right? Wouldn't consider that innovative. Not like Apple had wireless charging where you charge it off the Wi-Fi signal, right? But, well, that's innovative. That's completely different category. Products we're talking about, right? What it can do, right? But we say the biggest factor contributing to success is having a unique, superior product that adds value for the customer, right? And kind of every marketing class, we always talk about this concept of value, right? We all get different values. Some of us value the deal, price, right? We feel like we're not spending too much for what we actually are getting. The utility, some people value utility, some people value the brand, some people value luxury, right? So it's all creating products to fit into the niche category of something that the customer values. All right, we'll talk about the new products process, right? To take things from idea to concept to evaluation, development, launch, and post-launch. Right? Product innovation charter. Right? That's kind of a big one that constantly you'll hear me talk about, right? That's really just a strategy written by management to say we have a process for this in order to create a new product. In which case, for even your projects, you want to have a product innovation charter. Which is basically kind of a diagram showing like how do you get to idea to presenting to market, pushing out to market. What was that process like? What was all involved in those steps? And then product portfolio, way to success, which new products would be the best ones to add to the existing line, given financial and strategic objectives, right? So like, hey, potato chips, we look at Lay's potato chips, right? And you're like, all right, so many potato chips, barbecue, Ruffles, mesquite barbecue, kettle chips, popcorn, tortilla chips, right? Ones hoops. And then you're like, well, you know, which one makes feasible sense that for us to add additionally to that? Do we just create more flavors? Or do we create a different type of chip altogether? So we say the process is phase one, opportunity identification selection. There's no point to anything if there's not an opportunity for people to buy it, right? So you want to find the opportunity, select which opportunity is there, and move forward. Phase two, concept generation, right? You have an idea of something, but maybe you write down the concept, what's involved with this particular product. What are its features? And from concept generation, we go to the actual project evaluation, right? I'm like, all right, we evaluate all the things, the financial things, the feasibility, who will manufacture this, how quickly will we manufacture, how many can we produce, what sort of limitations are seen in the process, right? What kind of challenges are there. Phase four, we develop the product, right? We go ahead and push it through manufacturing. And then we start to begin marketing efforts. We're like, okay, the product is being produced. We got to think of labeling, packaging, and how will we push this product out to market, which is phase five, the final phase. The final frontier is when you launch the product launch. Now, anyone ever use the 3D printer at the university? Yeah. Well, you know, I would like for us to, with our projects, is come up with a, you know, either a 3D representation of it, or you can kind of create something on your own. You can do something crafty to some degree, but something physical that we can all see, right? So you get as maybe creative as you could possibly be. Right? So you're like, hey, this is soda pop. You use an old can, scratch it off, let us label and show us all the different features of it. Maybe something you might even have us do a taste test. Right? Be cool to get something like that. But I'd like for you to come up with an actual physical product representation for your projects. All right, there's some principle and issues in the new products process, right? Between the phases of the process are evaluation tasks or decision points where hard go or no-go decisions are taken, right? Also part of the process, like, hey, we came upon an issue, do we proceed or do we stop? Right? There's pressure to accelerate time to market, speed the product through the process. So in one situation, you may come up and say, you know, it's going to take a lot longer to actually produce the product. By the time we produce it, our competitors have already reached the market with their competitive product. I don't know. Maybe we scale back or we do something else. Right? Fuzzy gates are commonly used. This is a conditional goal, so as not to slow down the process and analysis. Still, fuzzy gates must have teeth. The potential problem is that the result should be no-go, but the project goes through anyway, right? They're like, well, we gotta evaluate actually what's stopping us and see, should we do something else moving forward with this? Another problem, hollow gates. The go decision is made, but no financial support is provided. So we call it hollow because there actually no financial go-ahead with that, which means the budget's not going to be increased. But creatively or conceptually, we're allowed to maybe pursue the product. Right? And maybe you have to wait a little bit longer at a later point in time in order to receive financial support from the finance department or investors or the bank or something else. All right, new products process interact with the other strategic elements. Without the strategic direction provided by the product innovation charter, the firm's attempts at product development will be unfocused. So we say the major thing here is be focused in your strategy, right? It has to be very clear, very concise, not too abstract and not too vague. And also too, another consideration of portfolio. So think of this, if for your products, conceptually, you're like, hey, I would like to develop a new product for Google. Right, all right, and we will look at the portfolio of existing Google products to see if it makes sense, right? Or how it relates to the portfolio itself. Or we're like, yeah, I would like to do a soda, and I'm gonna build upon Coca-Cola's product lines of soda. Right? You can do that for your project. But it may have to also tie in or make sense to somebody blushing. All right, so you could take existing companies, look at their existing portfolio, their line of products they already have, and do an expansion on that, and come up with a new sort of, whether it's a completely new product or some sort of modification on an existing. All right, so does all of this actually work? Well, we can check the efforts of the best product developers in the business, the outstanding corporate innovative award winners, right? There's all sorts of consortiums, I would say, that give out awards for best outstanding new product, right? For cars, for technology, for mobile phones, there's all sorts of award winners, right? And then product development and management teams can kind of go with those companies to produce new products. Some recent winners they're giving here: Dow Chemical, Maytag, Harley Davidson, Corning, Bausch and Lomb, and Hewlett Packard. All right, that is the end of chapter 1. I want to catch up on chapter 2 because we want to finish chapter 3 this on Wednesday. All right, going back to process, the starting point. Right? Senior management commitment to new products. So, you're going to be in groups for the product projects, right? And I think we'll go ahead and assign groups. I think I kind of placed you in the groups last class, but moving forward for your actual projects, you two will be a group, right? So you can start conceptualizing an idea, how you want to go about that. How about you two? Be a group, you two be a group, you two be a group. Sounds good? Okay, so moving forward, whether we're doing in-class group assignments, you stick with your group, right? Or we're doing our final project. All right, so starting point, right? Our senior management commitment to new products. Procter & Gamble's cosmetics business unit, right? So Procter & Gamble has several different business units. One may be household items. One may be just particularly work on cleaning agents, right? One may be personal care, toothpaste. One may be cosmetics. So we're saying here Procter & Gamble has a cosmetic business unit, and it had no clear product strategy, right? Probably going up against like Maybelline, Revlon. They're like, hey, you know what? I think we should get in that business. Why? Because we're a chemical company, right? We know how to manufacture things and bring it together about chemicals. It only makes sense for us to get into the makeup industry because makeup involves a mixture of chemicals, right? But we already have competitors who've been doing it such a long time. Maybe we could look at what they do, learn from them, take some of their approaches, so we come up with our own. But you were saying, hey, at the beginning they had an unfocused product initiative and too many customer segments being targeted, and short of lack of focus. Right? So like, if you're coming up with a makeup division for a company, you're like, well, you gotta have a target audience. Who's your target audience? What do you think? Like, in terms of makeup, who could be a target audience? How could we segment to bridge it? Like, well, who would you go for? Who would you target when it comes to that? different things we've noticed with like, hey, older women may use a different approach to makeup, a different system. Maybe they use more of it. Maybe they use different mixtures or combination of things. Maybe certain things are more important. Maybe it's blush versus eyeliner, right? Something of the sort, right? And you say maybe old, younger, they may have a different process or approach. So we're like, we should only focus on these products. This is what younger people use and before they apply makeup, right? But you gotta be focused. You're like, well, which one we're going for? Older and younger? It's kind of too broad, right? You're trying to get at everyone, and that's not probably a good strategy to begin with. Maybe later, once you're developed, you can be Revlon, Maybelline, and target everybody, right? But once you're starting out, you say, pick one to see your success in that way, right? So they had lack of focus. Procter & Gamble's cosmetics skillfully used all three strategy elements and made the weak business unit profitable, right? So they became profitable. So they did a situation assessment. Underserved consumer market that wanted quality facial products such as cleansers, right? You also need a way to remove the makeup, right? So they were like, hey, you know what? Actually, we're pretty good in the cleaning area. We make detergents, we make dishwashing soap. How about we might have an advantage with makeup removal, right? So they're like, hey, we could kind of focus on cleansers too, and eye products. The supply chain was uncoordinated as production and shipments were not tied to demand. Markets forecasts were not driving shipping schedules, right? So you're like, hey, you have a bunch of production, but your shipping is not tied to the actual demand out there for what people want. There's going to be a gap in between. People are going to be unsatisfied. Either you're making too many things, and now you just have a bunch of inventory left over, because your production is running forever, right? Or you have too little, not fulfilling your consumer base. So the product innovation charter recommended a strategic focus on products for the face. Other opportunities would not be pursued. So ultimately, Procter & Gamble says, let's just focus on things for the face, right? Let's not spread ourselves too thin by worrying about other facets of cosmetics, right? Let's just focus on things for the face. They tend to work out well for them. Consumer research was a very important process. We call this the voice of the customer, right? So consumer research is a way that you can also use to supply some data to back, your new products, the concepts, to see if you should move forward. And tough evaluation steps were carefully implemented as new products were compared to best practices and benchmarks. Procter & Gamble Cosmetics systematically added new products such that maximum buzz and excitement were created in the marketplace. So they had an approach of get mixed. Let's just modify old things that were pre-existing out there in the cosmetic world, but then let's also create new categories for cosmetics. New categories is generally the ones to create buzz. If you just simply modify something, it's not going to generate as much buzz, right? And so your strategy could be like, hey, I know that the things that are buzz-worthy may be the dominant money maker, right? But I also want to have pre-existing products, like to modify them. I know it's just a staple for people always need in their everyday life, applying makeup, right? Or any kind of cosmetics for that. Right? So like two different approaches. Let's put one or two products completely new category, and maybe spread out and put staple products with slight modifications, so we can call it proprietary, call it our own brand. If already several eye makeup products on the market, they would not immediately launch another, right? Management called this initiative rhythm for product launch. Right? So if there's already too many of the same kind of products, there's no need to create another, right? We need to create a category for something else. Senior executives in the cosmetics division were committed to success, as was corporate level management. Initiative success managers were hired to lead strategy development, manage evaluation meetings, and train employees. So you can see there's a lot, you can hire new people who have certain specialty, depending on what kind of product you're creating. The best team leaders were sought and rewarded based on performance. All right, so back to evaluating the task and new products process. We'll go back, opportunity identification and selection. This just simply means the direction, where should we look, right? So where should we look? What are some good markets you think out there right now to look at to create new products? What are some good markets that can use some new products? Right, absolutely. Like, hey, AI is an open landscape, right? There's just so much we could do with that. Right? So AI or the application of using AI, maybe it's a pre-existing product, right? And we've talked about in the other class, we're like, hey, you know what? Instagram and TikTok and Facebook could probably use AI summaries like you would see on Google, right? And anything else that you search. You go search for something on IG, TikTok, Facebook, and then it'll put up the content, photos, videos, but it'll also give you a short summary, summarize what you're looking for. And maybe you can give other things attached to what you're looking for. You're like, hey, what about this? What about that, right? So you're like, hey, that's the use of AI, right? Which is generating, for the most part, when it comes to searches, just summaries. Like the most relevant summary of what you're looking for. Definitions, meanings, tie-ins, right? Give it to you in the shortest form possible. Where else? What marketplace? So we say AI. AI is an excellent marketplace. What else? Do you think of any marketplaces? Financial or products or services that you think are a good space for some new products at this point?
Agriculture.
In what way?
We're using more land for housing and there's more people now, so finding ways to be more effective and more efficient, less space.
Okay. So so agriculture?
Yeah, we're like using a lot of farmland to make more housing because there's more people now.
Gotcha.
So we gotta be able to make more with less.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Excellent. All right. Real estate integrated with agriculture. Big land. Now we got to put some housing on there as well too. Population's expanding, and then people are kind of leaving cities too. Right. So there's some sort of trend for people to leave urban environments and go to more rural, which is agricultural land. So maybe that's a good kind of place to look. Where else? Can you think of any other consumer markets? What about shoes? I think shoes are just never ending. Like, there's always going to be opportunities here for new types of shoes. Or do you think the shoe market is so saturated and we've kind of maximized the ideas in terms of running shoes, comfort shoes? Could you think of anything like a shoe that would create a totally new category? Like an actually innovative shoe? Like, this is completely different than a shoe. You know, I'm always fascinated with like the success of on-cloud shoes. Anyone own those? On-cloud? Are you familiar? Familiar? Well, on-cloud shoes. I'm like, you're very successful. Right? Very, very successful shoe.
Zendaya has like the biggest influencer. I feel like that boosting
sponsorship, spokesperson, you think that's the real kicker to making it extremely popular?
Because it was like also during the time when like Dune was like coming out, and she was coming out with that tennis movie, and like she just got proposed to, so there was like a lot of hype around Zendaya, and then that's when I started seeing on a lot more.
Yeah. Somebody Google OnCloud and tell, OnCloud product features, and tell me what it says about what's so unique about their shoes. Right, because we're like, hey, is it just good? We're like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's just good marketing. We're like, hey, product placement. Let Zendaya wear the shoes in a movie. We paid her, well, we paid the production company to do it, right? That helps ease their budget for producing that movie. So we all win, win-win. She wears it, everybody, you know, she has a huge following. Thus it's just marketing. Purely marketing, but maybe nothing completely innovative. But maybe it is innovative. What does it say?
It says that they feature unique cloud technology that qualifies for cushion landings, helium super foam for responsive energy return, rocker shape for forward momentum, and speed work for explosive takeoffs.
Okay, right? Anyway, hey, we can all come up with a shoe and we say tech. We use the word tech. Nike tech, whatever, right? And it sounds cool. It actually sounds like we're like shoe engineers, right? I mean, you think of how far you can actually go with this, right? But here we're like, there's actually good language. There's a like, all right, there's something for more reactive explosion movements, right? And there's some foam there for super comfortability. And what was the first one?
That was
Whatever it is, it doesn't even matter, right? Right, like, hey, you know what, I don't know if it's like a real thing, but it doesn't matter, it could just be in the perceptions of those who wear it, right? Because not everybody will be adjusted to it. Why? We all have different feet in different situations. So some of us may still think Asics is better, and balance is better, whatever kind of feet we have altogether, right? Or even not even have the type of feet we have, but how we actually walk or run. But we walk and run and it impacts different parts of our back, our joints, right? So like that maybe is a shoe for every kind of market of walker or runner for that degree. Now the big thing is it's just layering it with quote unquote tech, which would be the upper sole, right? The insole inside, right? And the cushioning factors and things like that, right? You're like, well, possibly it's a new category of shoe, but maybe it's just a modification of something that's already been out there, such as Air Max, air bubble technology, or Vapor Max, right? I'm saying maybe Vapor Max. All right, so those are directions. We say we're looking at a market, where should we look? That's opportunity identification and selection. Concept generation is the idea of worth even screening, right? Screening means getting people together to talk about it, pulling some resources to see is this even worth discussing or moving forward to the next step. Concept and project evaluation. What should we try to develop, right? Another step. Should we try to develop this product? Is it a good market? Right? And then development. How have we developed it? So we need progress reports. Is there a prototype, right? How do we use that prototype in order to see how people will respond to full-scale production of the product? And then launch, market testing. Should we market it, right? You can test the market in different ways, focus groups, all other sort of mechanisms to see how customers respond. All right, some activities that feed strategic planning. planning for new markets, right? We have ongoing market planning, the need to meet aggressive competitor, right? So sometimes we don't even create products because there's really a viable reason other than our competitors just created a new product. So, you know, you think about that every time you see a new sort of feature rolled out